to victory.
Game 5, we're getting geared up with Tricked taking on Team Expert, and we thought it was almost done there. I felt like Tricked Esport was going to walk away with a 3-1 victory, but suddenly the throw pit happens and we get to have a Game 5 between these two amazing teams.
It's great for us. I'm not so sure if it's great for Trick because they have a bit of a history of losing the 5th game.
Yeah, I mean, do you get tilted after that? I mean, you have a situation where you think you're going to win the game, you're setting yourself up so well, and then it all comes down to a couple seconds.
It's definitely way harder to recover from the end of Game 4 than it was from Game 1. Game 1 was just a mistake with overlapping models. You can shake it off, move on. Trick did that very well. This one is just a matter of, I mean, your eyes just getting too big. You see the victory within grasp. You just want to secure this 1 point. Even at the point where it looks where you can't realistically get it anymore, they're still, like, committed to it fully.
Yeah.
I've made that mistake before, and it's really rough to throw away a huge lead on the boss like that. And so seeing how Trick responds.
Can Trick shake it off? Let's go to Game 5, and then we'll get your thought here, Caldor. Which battleground are we going to?
It's also a question now, because now we are in Towers, and we've been talking about Sonya quite a bit, and once again she was taken, so the trend continues. Trick takes her whenever they can. And the big question right now is Expert going to react to that and just say, nope, we're done. No more Sonya plays for you. Or are they this time still letting her through and saying, we can deal with this?
That's a really good question here. I mean, actually, we saw Sonya on Towers of Doom as well. It was a 4th pick, but obviously we've been seeing a little bit more Sonya from Trick in the last couple of games. It's time to find out, man. It all comes down to this. Can Trick Esports shake off that loss, and can Expert continue to be the high-caliber team that we know them to be?
I'm really curious for the bans now. This is another map where in Europe we see a fair amount of Abathar together with Arthurs, with Greymane. He's still a great tool. We saw him banned out in most of the previous games. But there's, of course, a huge focus onto the globals. So we see that already mirrored by a quick ban on the Haka. But how is Expert now reacting to this? The double support that came out of Trick gave them a lot of trouble earlier. We have Sonya as an option. We still have the option to ban out the Abathar if they're afraid of that. There's a ton that's going on here. Just not only meta questions, but also between these two teams, the mind games and trying to push the opponent out of their comfort zone.
Moment of truth.
I think Expert has to be thinking at this point. They had plans to deal with Sonya the last 2 games, but they clearly didn't work. Despite winning that game, it was not because they dealt with the Sonya effectively. And at this point, they have to just be realizing they're afraid that Tricked will first pick the Sonya here if they go through with this ban, because they should be willing to 1-2 it themselves at this point. So this ban here really shows how worried they are about Tricked getting Sonya.
The big downside of something like this is oftentimes, yes, you know your opponent is playing fantastic with the Sonya, but just because they pick the Sonya every game as a priority doesn't mean they have a good fallback option.
Ooh, fake out ban.
Yeah, they go for the Leoric then in the end.
Leoric banned out, Abathar is up, and there it is.
Yeah.
Abathar has now got his introduction to this best of 5 series. He hasn't been banned out, and he is devastating on this battleground.
Abathar is going to be fantastic for Trick, especially if they get a good draft around it. So for Expert, this is a really important double pick. Would you expect Sonya to be taken now? Because from what we've seen so far, if Sonya all of a sudden also has an Abathar hat on top of her.
Sonya Abathar is not a classic pairing. Oh, okay, now this draft is just going wild.
Well,
oh my.
Welcome to Europe.
Wow, okay, so the Sonya deny there, but also paired with a slightly unusual combination for Sonya with the 1-2 Vikings.
Okay, so Vikings in Europe, of course, a very dominant pick on a lot of maps by a lot of teams. Towers is one where it depends highly on the team where you get, but we have seen Team Liquid, for example, play Vikings a lot, especially on Cursed. In this setup now, though, first of all, the Abathar now dealing with this, having to deal with it. Who do they go for the copy? Are we going to see some Nuburak Arthurs play here, first of all, leading into a Greymane for copy potential? There's a lot of tools that they could use right now, but Expert really trying to take away from the opponent by eliminating Sonya now as well.
Well, Greymane typically the go-to, and that is the case here. Greymane picked up in tandem here with Tyrael. So already, the lineup for Trick Esport is one that is very good. They bounce off of each other, they band-aid each other. The synergy is fantastic for Trick Esports. But there is always the ever-looming presence of Vikings versus Abathar. Early game Vikings, Abathar coming online at level 10.
And also when we talk about the Vikings, let's not forget one thing. This particular comp was played against, I think it was Team Liquid when they faced Expert, and back then Expert won the series. ADRD received huge compliments from Team Liquid after that for his play on the Vikings and also the way he talented the Vikings from someone like HGC.
Yes.
And HGC being known to be the Viking player in Europe. And the first thing he did after the series was go to Twitter and say, big shoutouts to ADRD, fantastic build on the Vikings, great play, congratulations. So let's see how Trick is going to deal with that now.
They've denied the Zeratul, one of the good ways to deal with the Vikings early. I'm very curious to see just how hard Expert will commit to a push.
Yeah, Zeratul is also something that we've seen from the Ducks, for example. They played it on this map with Abathur, Zeratul plus Tyrael, and their whole strategy was, with the Greymane even, it's the exact same comp. What they did is double Zeratul with Judgment just diving on one target and the Greymane finishing it off. So that was extremely scary, and I think Expert still remembers those series, and it's another reason. You're obviously right, against the Vikings, it's also great, but there's so much threat here.
These two picks will be very telling. The early game strength of the Vikings to enable the other four to either gank effectively or push effectively, it leads me to think that they... Oh, looks like they're going more into the gank with the Genji, but against an Abathur who's weak early, they could just run into a wall as 4 and then use the Vikings to soak up all the other lanes and just try to get advantages by killing all the walls early against the weak Abathur early game.
Especially with how much pressure we've seen from Sonya on every time Trick played them in the early game against Structures. If you exploit the weaker early game of Abathur, that can really help you to get that momentum going for yourself.
For me, what this really yells is Team Expert wants to control the early game like crazy and control Mercenaries. You have Sonya set up already, you get that bottom lane pushed up, and then if your opponents ever come in for an engage, you have the kill potential of Sonya and Genji being very effective, especially after a root. So Expert right now is wanting to run that 1 through 9 so effectively well and control that bottom lane to the point where if they get a bell tower set up, they'll be in a great spot heading into the mid game.
Yeah, and now, of course, a moment of truth. Tricked how they are going to react to this. Lucio taken once again for the support here. And Varian. Okay, so really trying to lock a target down with the taunts. Greymane. This is a bit of a blow-up that we have with Greymane moving in with a Cursed Bullet. Can do at least that, together with Varian and the engage. This is going to be an aggressive game.
This is your wish that you wanted to see in game number 1, where we got the Arthas instead of the Varian to handle the Genji.
Yes.
Now we have someone here to actually handle it with a straight taunt.
He's a great tool against Zeratul, Genji, Tracer, trying to lock that target down and eliminate it. That's what Varian really excels at. And even if you don't go for the full commitment to this, you still put there's a lot of respect on the other side. So all of a sudden, when you're going up against the Varian, you can't be as aggressive as you normally want it to be.
I think there's 3 things here that give Varian a lot of value. First off, this is one of his best maps to begin with. You see him commonly picked here. He's up against a Genji. Having the taunt is great against those high mobile heroes, but also it plays into the fact that they have the Abathur clone on the Greymane. When you're cloning that Greymane, the best choice for the other team is simply to disengage. And with the Varian, they're really looking to lock people down and force them to fight.
And trying to escape a Nubarak with a Cocoon can, of course, first of all, force a battle, but you can also try to disengage by locking down Varian, for example. So Nubarak, we talked about him a lot. This time very late in the draft that he is getting picked here, but still adding that value. And I guess it's all about the Vikings at this point.
Yeah, for me, I look at this game and immediately I look at Expert and I'm like, you guys have to have a strong early game. You got to be dominant. Going to mid game right now, Trick Esport has a very scary team. I mean, do you echo the thoughts or do you have any other opinions in regards to that?
I agree with you fully. They have to snowball early. As soon as the 10 comes, the Abathur clone is out, the taunt is out. Like, at that point, they're going to be making huge engagements all over the map, getting picks, having extremely strong team fight. The Vikings have to get value in the early phase, otherwise they're just going to be behind for the entire game.
Also, we have no global on the side of them, so trying to play around them, that can help a bit. If you focus on these bell towers, ADRD has to have a fantastic game on the Vikings overall. This is definitely not going to be an easy game for either one of these teams. Both of them have really clear strategies that they are trying to execute, but if they fall behind, it's a disaster.
We'll see how it goes here, man. If anyone can pull it off, it's Expert. We've seen him in the past be wonky and be successful. On the other side, though, Tricked playing a very standard composition that spikes at level 10. Who will earn a victory in game number 5? Let's find out.
It is the final map of the series. We are in the playoffs at HGC, and it is Expert going up against Tricked Esport to the left side. Bad Benny on Anubarak. We have ADRD on the Vikings. Blade on Sonya. We're currently seeing Nick on Genji. And Curson is playing Malfurion.
Tricked Esport on the right side. Nape will be playing Lucio. We're going to be having Alex the Progi on Tyrael. Crosby will be showing his gray main play as he'll be diving into that back line. Eternal would be the variant. He'll set it up with those taunts. And Rimmer Baller will be playing Abathur.
So already we have a few things that we need to point out. We've been talking about ADRD and we've been talking about the Vikings. Look at the level 1. Speccing into Balog at the start, so this is enabling him to push lanes out much heavier. Explosive attacks as the first talent allows Balog to capitalize way more on his own splash. And that means that if you are alone on a lane, you can just simply pressure it the entire time. So this is one of the things we have to watch out for in the later stages when those altars are on the map, when the objective is online. So he can get a lot of value trying to take these structures down.
Yeah, I actually tried that talent after we saw ADRD play it last week, and I realized after 3 seconds of being alone, I was shredding through minion waves and demanding attention of my opponents. It's actually a very effective talent if you are left alone.
I mean, one of the things just for fun, what you should try out, spec completely into Balog, he becomes a monster.
Yeah.
You can solo everything. You can solo camps, you are on lanes, you are even in team fights pretty effective with him, as long as you keep yourself alive with a good jump later. But of course, at this point, I don't expect ADRD to do that, but just for funsies, it's actually sometimes pretty cool to do that just for the lulz in a good quick match.
Notice Tricked Esport right now with 130 looming here. As when mercenaries spawn on the bottom left part of this battleground, they are setting up very aggressively to make sure their opponents do not get pressure coming their way. Varian was on the right side. They chased the Malfurion to make sure that he was in the lane the entire time. Tricked Esport is well aware of what Team Expert needs to do to be successful.
Now, one of the things that we need to talk about Tricked is that Abathur is positioning himself in the mid lane, and that allows him to simply set up mines, toxic nests everywhere to slow rotations down. That's incredibly important on this map and can sometimes lead to you grabbing an altar over your opponent simply because they're slowed down.
Forward's hitting here. Expert grabs it slightly earlier. Tricked Esport does move in on their own mercenaries, and Nick will sniff it out. He moves on in, but will be denied there with an Abathur hat and Lucio floating around, and Tricked will actually be the first ones to grab mercenaries.
So Tyrael is at the top. ADRD can basically, yeah, he can just say, oh nice, the Toxic Nest is actually going to help him out. If they get the kill against Eric, that would be great. There's a first shot fired. The Vikings at the top, and ADRD can interrupt this 6 days to Sunday. There's no problem for him doing this with both of the Vikings being in the vicinity.
Tyrael aware that's going to happen. He's going to keep floating around while Trick tries to make a play in the bottom, but Team Expert is a little bit ahead of them. They grab the mercenaries at the very top so they can keep pressure up and have Sonya push in while they have Nick and Curson poke where they can.
Yeah, and ADRD is still interrupting. As long as the Vikings are alive, the interrupts are going to be super easy for them. Down here, channel happening again. Nick with the interrupt. Expert is playing this really well at the beginning of the game.
And look at the experience lead. They're about to hit level 6, while Tricked Esport is just about to hit level 5. They've gotten a full level off of this. Sonya comes in and gets aggressive on Alex the Progi. Will be able to bring out some damage. Now Lucio finally heads to the top right, but Team Expert will grab the shots from the bottom.
So this is a decision that they made because they realized that they won't be able to get both of these altars. They also realized that time was not working in their favor. It was actually very much working against them, since Expert was the team getting more value. So they made the choice of sacrificing the bottom altar, moving as a team to the top left, and claiming at least one of the two. But they are still behind in experience for the reasons you pointed out earlier. That split of Sonya at the top for the camp was very important with that setup.
Eternal getting caught here with the root hitting. Will be able to parry at the last second. Is forced to walk away while Nappy tries to tail him off. Now, Balog does get picked in the middle by Alex the Progi, but Team Expert is knocking on this front door.
They are, and that's extra experience for them. Level 7 versus 6, and they are so far doing a good job here. A bit of pressure against Genji. Still able to walk away from this one though. But to the top lane, it's Sonya, who's pressuring Abathur even more.
And the thing is, they're about to have a Merc spawn in about 25 seconds, I think, to the very north, which will allow for him to continue keeping pressure on his opponents and get that bell tower low on health. Eternal does not mind dealing with Ethereal, especially when he has Eric consistently coming up to help.
And Eric now with the level 4 talent is even more annoying. This is a big problem in the long run because he is now in a spot where he can just simply heal himself up and interrupt for so long. Nappe caught on the wrong side of the map. Is he actually gonna... That looked for a second as if he would be able to get out of this one.
No, the power of the trees stops him, and now the rest of the team of Trick Esport is getting stopped as well. We have a Greymane down, Eternal hoping to retreat here. Bad Benny chasing him. Should be able to survive, especially with an Abathur hat, but we have 2 Ultra spawning in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and we have also a massive, massive lead for Expert. 9 versus 7 in levels. Another camp taken to the top lane. The continuous pressure coming out of the Sonya lane. Curson with an easy pick on the altar here. This is bad news for Tricked, at least up to this point. They need the 10 on Abathur. They need it badly.
Yeah, this is the time where you just soak lanes. You just stop trying to fight. You soak lanes and get to 10 as quickly as possible. You lose everything you have to lose out on. And Team Expert, this is where they push their advantage. Now, Trick, the biggest worry for them is if they lose a bell tower. Taking one back at this point in the game, while you're not level 10, will be incredibly difficult.
This is the hardest time now for Tricked. Expert has 10. They are in such a good spot. Last time we saw, by the way, the boat on the Vikings not play again, which is the standard. And we could see, again, the boat for extra damage. But this is really the time when Expert controls everything. The level 10 advantage allows them to invade the camp down here. They have heroes everywhere, they soak, and they control the map, as Tricked is just saying, boys, we need to simply stay there now, don't die, play it out until we have level 10, and then finally we can make a stand.
Expert committing to the idea of pushing into this bell tower. A total of 6 sappers will collide, and that bell tower is down. Tricked Esport, 9.5 experience, desperately looking for that 10. They do get a pick on Eric, which will be helpful, but still, not even close to 10.
Tricked has to sit there. The worst thing you can do now is end up in a fight. You are the team that wants to sit tight, and you just have to take the beating. There is no other way. You're getting beaten into the ground at this point, but you cannot make anything else happen. Just sit there, take it, hope for the 10, and then attempt to turn it around with the team fight. It's the only thing that works. Bell tower, but Alta is spawning at the bot lane. Here's the 10 finally, and now they can make their plays. Okay,
this is where we should see the hyper-aggression turn on for them. Eternal looking for a pick. Who would he like to move into? Needs to join up with Alex Aproji. They're going to flank all the way around, which is scary, but needed to do. They have to get into a fight. If they lose it, they have nowhere to escape to.
Tyrael with a Sanctification. It's using that. They're trying to go for ADRD here. They're setting up their position. They don't have any place to retreat. Keep that in mind. They cannot retreat to a bell tower.
Nappe has started the channel here on the left side. Bad Benny will come in with the interrupt.
Alex trying to zone here. Beatles on the ground.
Look up in the top right. We have Blade wanting to come in with Sonya.
Still the Vikings pushing the lanes in the meantime.
Hang on, Nick. Taking damage on the right side.
Eternal looking for the target's taunt.
We have the ultimate evolution now. Rimmer is Greymane.
They're trying to go for Blade, but they can't really get him.
Big root coming out, but Nick continues with the poke on the right side.
They look for the taunt here against Genji, but they don't find it.
They should be able to keep poking here. Here's Curson. There it is. We have the taunt finally coming out.
Going straight for Curson. He's down.
That's going to be a big kill overall, and suddenly Tricked Esports in a great spot.
Benny on the move back once again. Nick still with the poke. Cocoon on the ground, though.
Nappe will be saved, and he could turn around and channel. And it looks like overall Tricked Esport has done what they need to do. They get the altar, and they get a kill.
And in the meantime, the top lane. This is what we talked about in the early stages of the game. Look at Balog with that level 1 talent, the explosive attacks. He nearly took that bell tower. He has it down to 50% HP just because he has that massive wave clear.
He has a massive wave clear, but now with Abathur here getting past level 10, he can start to control this a little bit better overall. However, Balog will continually be a thorn in his side. However, he has support from his teammates. They can start murking.
The patience on Tricked was important, but this is now a great play going for the boss because Expert has a level 13 advantage. So Tricked hasn't lost this yet. They're still in a halfway decent spot. They could reclaim the bell tower. They also were able to take an altar. They have to sacrifice this. They don't want to fight against the talent lead, but overall they are back in the game. They are still behind, but they have at least a chance now to turn this.
Hang on here in the middle. We have Alexaproji low on health, and he's going to fall. Nick goes in for the final kill. And do note, we had the boss grabbed at the very top. We saw that scouted out there by, on the left side, Bad Benny with that. Nubrex saw 3 members on the bottom right mercenary camp, so they grabbed the boss for the 4 points.
Balog is just punishing that top lane. He is pushing in harder and harder, and he has currently... Yeah, he's actually about to eliminate that bell tower. Greymane has to rotate in, and that, of course, opens an opportunity for Team Expert at the bot lane, since they are now with 4 heroes pushing for another bell tower.
Cocoon being used here. Thurnal is going to be forced to help his teammate get out of the cocoon. Will be able to help Nape, but he actually gets charged in on a Bad Benny. Gets a kill.
Great move. Expert is just playing this so well. They take the bell tower at the bot lane. They saw Greymane at the top. Even without it, they would have gone for it. Now they have 15 to 13. They have taken the bell tower and they got the kill.
Now this is the 4th, if I remember correctly. So we have 1 ultra spawning, but the next one is killer for Team Expert.
It's the one chance where you can fight on 13 talents.
Yep, you got to move in. We're going to see if they do it. Ultimate Evolution has been popped by Rimmer.
They don't have Lucio. Here comes the taunt, going straight in, trying to drop Genji, jumping out already. AD Artie, is he losing Olaf? Looks like he might, but it's not going to do too much. Olaf still alive, rushes out, but Benny also on escape, and Tyrael going for the altar now.
Man, Trick didn't even get ADRD there. Olaf survives. Alexaproji goes in for Eric. He'll spin here to get some damage out, hoping to survive.
Interrupt happening. Nick coming in with a shuriken.
Blade on the right side, taking damage from Eternal.
Alex zoning. Blade moving in from behind.
Sanctification used. They're hoping to get a kill here.
Sonya is in trouble, but Benny comes in with a stun.
He has a cursed bullet. Bad Benny low. 2 tanks low on health.
Sound barrier already used by Cocoon as well. Eternal making it out of it, though.
The bell tower was also grabbed in the top right corner.
But we still have 1 bell tower active right here. It's 6 shots against 2. Trick needs to get this one.
They have to get it, or they're going to take major damage. Varian charges in.
And Uberak into the backline, and the X-Strike goes down on Lucio. He's dead.
He's going to try and get some more kills here. Nick going in, looking for another reset. We're going to have Crosby low on health.
Sonya eliminated. Greymane also down. Eternal about to fall. This is horrible for Trick.
This is not looking good at all. You are correct. Completely horrible. The altar is grabbed. 6 shots are fired, and 1 lone bell tower stands in the middle, and Team Expert can make a play for it.
Expert is looking fantastic in this last game. 6 shots fired, 33 against 12 at this point, and the level 16 talent on top of it adds insult to injury.
Alexaproji trying to get that bell tower on the bottom right, down to some low health here, but doesn't want to commit fully quite yet. He wants to be able to make sure that if he does get it, his team can start rotating.
It seems that if that curse of the 5th game against Trick is still true, once again they find themselves on map 5, and once again they're falling farther and farther behind. Making a comeback happen here would more or less require a big team wipe.
Big team wipe, control, making sure to watch the macro game overall. When they get to 16, they'll be in a decent spot, but it's going to be a tough road, especially remember, 3 altar phases next.
They have good tools. It's the global pressure of the Vikings that makes it very hard for them, since they are on a clock in this. But if they can force that 1 fight and really carry that momentum that they're trying to build up in a team fight, they still have a chance to gain some momentum and maybe snowball it against Expert. But it's incredibly difficult at this point.
Man, they set up a gank even for Sonya on the top right. Sonya, however, does back home as 3 members were missing on the field. Solid play by Expert. They really are keeping an eye on their opponents and aren't giving them any options to come back in this game.
Yeah, Expert is playing this very, very cool now. They are just relaxing, they're taking it easy, they don't want to risk anything here. And they're even saving the Vikings. Once again, the fight about to start. Lucio.
He's low on health there. He'll pop the sound barrier to survive.
Yep, pops it quickly. Rema has the copy. They're going in and they're trying to go for Blade.
Blade hoping to retreat. He does get out. Crosby jumps in, but no targets for him.
Jumps in, jumps out, tries to see if he can maybe drop some damage. But Expert retreats 2 level ahead, 18 to 16.
Caldor, it's a 3 altar phase. Blade kills the ultimate evolution.
Oh, this is potentially game. This could be game.
We're going to watch the Vikings here. Eric's running to the bottom left. We have Olaf in the top left already, setting up for two of the altars.
They're sacrificing the bottom. They want to make the play for the top two.
This is the only one they have here. If both of them are grabbed, it's 10 shots for experts. They would still be in the game. Trick wants to be able to grab what they can here. They have Napai on the right side. ADRD delays.
30 seconds until the copy is back. Abathur not going for a slap. 5 shots fired. They have to fight this one. Are they actually going to sacrifice the second altar?
Athernal gets the erupt. We have Balog picked off on the left side. ADRD is dived on.
There's the jump. Tyrael is still charging through, trying to get the one to the right side. That's 3 shots. They're holding on for now. 5 seconds until Abathur copy is back up.
Trick Esports stations around this area while the Vikings continue to try to get value. Abathur's working on the bell tower in the middle.
Yeah, they're trying to go for the channel there. No interrupt. And Nubarak does not dive in. Rama pops the copy just to be safe, and they grab one. 2 against 1 taken. But the points on the core, it's a 20-point lead for Expert as they're on 27 against the 7 for Trick Esports.
I mean, this is the way to do it, though. You nibble your way back into the game, and getting those 2 altars, even though with small amount of shots, they're nibbling.
That's a lot of nibbling.
That's a lot of nibbling, but sometimes you don't want to do a big bite. You could hurt yourself, you know?
That's true. You don't want them to bite it off more than you can chew.
That is very true, man. That's very true. And they are working on nibbling on this bell tower on the top left.
Yeah, so they nibble away up at the top. But at the same time, we have also someone nibbling the bot lane.
Yeah, that's pretty rude of him. He's going to be able to get that bell tower eventually here, especially with these sappers joining in. Abathur continues to work in the middle, but Trick Esports at this point just kind of has to stay out of group and just work desperately on getting into fights.
I mean, it's a trade. They have a trade right now in terms of the towers, so that's good. But they need to first of all deal with the bot lane pressure thanks to the camp that's pushing through, and they cannot abandon boss at the top. You can't afford to lose another 4 points right now, so you need to be very careful. This is why Varian is still around. Yeah,
Varian's still hanging out there to scout it out. Should be able to escape with the parry. Bad Benny makes the call to start the boss. This is 4 shots onto the core of Trick Esports. Greymane and Lucio are on their way to help out.
Varian shows because he cannot wait until the boss is low. He cannot wait for that to happen.
Oh no.
And Blade actually pausing the game here. So what we just saw is that he actually, on Varian, started to engage into it because he knew that if he waits too long, then all of a sudden it's going to be a real problem. So that was a pretty interesting situation there and very atypical. Normally what you're trying to do is, if you want to force, you wait until the boss is really low and then you charge in. But because the bot lane was pushing with the camp, they needed to be in a spot where they buy time early on, and that was the only way how you can do it.
Yeah, they got to delay it. Typically, you wait for the last couple of seconds because you want to go into the fight while your opponents take all the damage away from the boss and they get low on health, which sets up kills and being available. But you are correct, man. They got to delay. They got to make time happen.
It's such a close game right now.
It is.
There's still a chance. The combo that we are seeing come out of Tricked is very powerful if you get team fight momentum. And they showed a few good team fights already. And I think the one saving grace is that the last 3 altar phase is over.
Yeah.
So the Vikings still have the pressure on all of the lanes, but at the same time, they won't be able to channel through while you're occupying another altar. So that's a bit of a plus.
Yeah, so they have some stuff going their way. It's just all about not making a mistake. Literally right now, Trick Esports cannot afford another mistake. They have another one, they lose the game. If 2 people get picked off, mercenary camps get grabbed, bell towers get burned down, all map control is gone, Abathur becomes ineffective. They cannot screw up at all or they lose the series.
Now, one of the things that is really important when it comes to talents and synergy is that we have the level 16 talent ready for Tricked. And that means that Abathur has the extra slow on the symbiote, and Executioner has been taken for Greymane. And that means that's a lot of damage. The big problem that we currently have for Tricked, trying to make that comeback happen, is that level 20 is going to be reached so much sooner for their opponent, and that is a massive worry for them now.
Well, now it's all about this boss fight in the very north. Who is going to walk away with it? Let's find out right now. Let's head straight back into the game. The boss is around half health. Both teams are postured to move in for it. Here we go.
Already starting up right here. Sound barrier dropping on the ground. Ramaball about to lose the copy. Tyrael just now moving in.
We have Crosby on the right side. He's low on health. Sanctification has been used. The boss is resetting on the left side, which is good for Tricked.
This is exactly what they wanted, and that was a really tall order to make this happen. Tyrael had to defend the bot lane and then to make his way all the way up to the top. So they sacrificed the copy on Abathur super early and had to. This could, if they lose a hero here, this would potentially be over, but now they reset it and have an opportunity. They zone early as we have the altars activating in a few seconds.
18 seconds for Ultimate Evolution being up. That means they will have a 9-second window here before Trick can actually fight.
Abathur might at some point have to engage into a slap duel. Just saying.
Yeah, to slow something down for sure. 2 ultras spawning here. Baron's on the left side. He will have a hat. Nape is keeping him alive for now so he can continue to poke.
Name of the game, delay the one to the right for as long as you can and try to fight for the one to the left. Look at ADRD. He is such a pain with Eric right now. Holy ground for the zoning attempt. Can't get through here, but it's not enough.
Rimmer makes the call. Ultimate Evolution's popped. Eternal will be moving in. Blade brings out the damage. Crosby's low!
Crosby is solo. Balog falling, but he's the only one. Crosby is still falling, but it's Eric taking him down.
Eric with the final kill there. Nick is low though too. Can Nick be burned out? Nick is taken care of.
Yeah, once again, here, play again. The checkpoint has been reached. They are moving in. The Vikings are there. The left side is getting channeled.
Abathur hat helping with the kills here. We have some of the Vikings being killed off. The play again. Pop so big. Massive engage.
They need to win this one. They cannot sacrifice anything here. Tricked esports, their final chance. They have to turn this around.
Nape comes in. Big Twilight Dream. We're going to have some trait value on the left side, but will it be enough?
Tyrael is already blown up. The ADRD is channeling even more. Eternal goes in and stops him, but Nape is falling as well. This is about to be, this has to be the end. Expert is just looking too strong here.
This is going to be a 1v3 with an Abathur hat. We will have a Greymane up in 10 seconds. He can't get over there. It's going to be channeled. It's going to be GG. Team Expert will win 3-2 and move on to face Dignitas tomorrow.
Expert takes the win here, and it's a 3-2 victory with fantastic Viking play at the end, and just a bit too much for Tricked to handle.
A little bit too much overall. Cawthon, tell us, what do you think about that match?
ADRD was the man. It all came down to that first altar phase. The fact that he was able to delay that top right altar for, it seemed like, well over a minute. Not only were they able to get, like, what, they were 6 when the other team was 4. It was over a level lead. They managed to secure 2 of the altars anyway. The entire game, like, snowballed from that point.
I mean, you have a replay, apparently, to show us what's going on in that game. So let's go ahead and check out the replay. Cawthon dropping the analysis.
All right, this is going to be a lot of Eric tossing pebbles at Alex the Progi up top. What we're going to look at the XP right now. It's only a half-level lead. However, this is going to go on for so long, with them unable to deal with Eric poking at the Tyrael, that this experience lead is just going to snowball out of control. So at this point, they need to rotate somebody up to help get those Vikings off of there and secure the top right. However, they commit way too long to trying to get 2 altars, and the fact that they lose out on this much experience is way more detrimental to the game than just giving up the altar and taking the 4 tower shots early. This experience here, this lead is what snowballs the game, and it's ADRD's play for this minute here, delaying the tribute, keeping himself safe, and stalling the game out that wins Expert the series.
It's basically a 2-1 punch as well, because you have Sonya on the lane taking the camps, pressuring the top bell tower, and the level 4 talent was also detrimental to all of this. Eric the Swift, as long as he runs, heals himself, and that's why he could just sustain this long interrupt against Tyrael. Normally, Tyrael can just poke him down over time, but in this case, that just can't happen. So they bought time in such a great fashion, and as you said, it took Trick so long to realize what was going on and what the threat was that it was just too late once that they finally dealt with it.
They could never recover from that.
Dang, man, falling behind here, but let's talk to Expert themselves. We have Bad Biddy on the call. Bad Biddy, thank you for joining us. And oh my gosh, that was a close one.
Yeah, I'm so exhausted now. It's insane.
Well, tell us about it, man. You go into game number 5. It's been back and forth. Tricked Esports is looking better than normal. What was the thought process going into game 5?
I mean, we expected the whole series to go way smoother, but obviously, as you saw, game 2, 3, 4, they were pretty dominant. And so, yeah, they really showed up today. And we underperformed quite a bit, I would say. But, I mean, we still knew we could come back every game. And game 1 and this last game, we had the control, I felt. So
So Sonya's looking kind of strong as of late. What do you guys think about that popping up?
I mean, it's the same as with most heroes. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. She fits the meta fairly well. Like, obviously a good solo laner, and she works well with double support compositions. So, yeah.
Awesome. Always cool to hear from you. Let's go ahead and send you over to Caldor.
Well, basically, I have one big question for you, and that is about your next game that you have to play, because you're going up against Dignitas now. So what are your expectations for that series in particular, especially since, of course, you once again have a chance to take one of the big three down?
I think if we play better, like if we play better than today and play like we normally do, then I think we can win all, like 3-0 fairly easily. But
3-0?
Wow.
yes, I don't think they can contest us if we play well. But
You're speaking about Dignitas, right?
if we underperform, yes, I know. If we underperform, you can see what happens today.
You know, when you were hesitating, I thought you were going into something like, yeah, it's going to be very, very hard, and I'm not sure if you can pull it off there, and then you drop the 3-0 on me. That is a statement right there. Respect.
The thing about Dignitas, in my opinion at least, is that like they're super good at what they do, but what they do is fairly limited compared to a lot of other teams. And we feel we have them kind of under control, so it's up to us to deliver. And if we do that, I think we will win fairly easily.
I'm pretty hyped for tomorrow's game now.
Yeah, let's just get that started right now. Well, Coffin, do you have any questions for our EU friend over here, Bad Biddy?
I'm just a little curious if you expect Sonya's dominance to continue through to other parts of the EU playoffs, or do you think that's something that just fits Expert's style, or not Expert's, Trick's style so much that they were able to play it so effectively today?
I don't know if the other teams will, like, I think Trick likes it because it suits their playstyle and it suits our playstyle fine as well, but I don't think it will have as much, like, importance in draft as it did today. Like, I don't think it will get first picked in the other series, but it will for sure be a valid pick.
It was really interesting to see the priorities change on her as the games went on. Great play today. Good job.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to Bad Benny and the rest of Expert. You guys secure some victories today, but the road is not finished. You have more games tomorrow, so we're excited for that, and good luck against Dignitas. Before I let you go, any shout-outs or any words to the fans?
Thanks for cheering us on, even though this series was tough. We managed to pull through, and hope to see you all tomorrow, and hopefully Sunday.
We will definitely see Expert tomorrow. I'm looking forward to